Schonwand. It is nearly 8 minutes past 6, and my next guests have made their way into the studio, and it's so nice to have Lorena Paz Nieto and Helen Glaisher-Hernández here in the studio. They are giving a recital of music from Latin America written by women, and that's going to be in Leeds at the Heart Centre in Headingley on Sunday. Welcome, both of you. Really great to have you here, and I'm so intrigued by this, and I want to know what we're going to be hearing in this recital. I mean, Lorena, do you want to tell us a little bit about how this programme came about?
Well, actually, probably Helen would even say more because she is curated the program herself. But it is extremely exciting to have such an eclectic program in which we, as two women as well, performing, singer and pianist, discover a lot of, these female composers and poets behind these amazing songs that treat so many different themes, motherhood, folklorical senses, and it's a rather exciting one for me, I have to say.
And Helen, were these pieces of music that you'd known of and performed a lot in the past, but you felt needed a spotlight? Or
yes, exactly.
Are any of them new to you as well?
A mixture. A lot of them I'd incorporated into different programmes that I'd done, not because they were by women, just because I liked them.
Yeah.
And I realised I had quite a big collection of songs, and I thought maybe now was the right time to make a project out of this and shine more of a light on the fact that these pieces were written by these incredible women.
And we're talking about music mostly written in the 20th century. A little bit of 19th century, isn't there?
Yes, it's mainly 20th century, a little bit of 19th century. It would be great to be able to include something by Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, who was a 17th century composer in Mexico. But very sadly, all of her music has been lost.
I mean, there's a fantastic... Well, listen, do you know what? I've got so much to ask you. I really do. But let's hear some music first. What are we going to hear first? This is by Glaisher-Hernandez, I think, is our first piece, isn't it? So who was she?
She's a 20th century Cuban composer. She was the first woman composer in Cuba to compose leader.
Okay.
She's a very eminent figure in musical life in Cuba in her lifetime, and she's part of a group called the Grupo de Renovación Musical, which was a group of various composers who wanted to incorporate more Afro Cuban elements into classical music.
Okay, yeah, creating that Cuban sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of music that's quite percussive, but this shows the other side of her, which is very feminine and sort of very lyrical.
Lovely. Well, if you guys are ready, we would love to hear it. This is called Miraba la noche el alma. The soul contemplated the night. And this is by Glaisher-Hernandez from Cuba. We're going to hear it performed by Lorena Paz Nieto and Helen Glaisher-Hernández.
ya señas tocado, noche de bodas centellas. Ya no tengo más cuidado, ni sueño que tus estrellas. Ojos que me habéis mirado tan profundamente en alma, que todo lo habéis ganado para vuestra noche y calma. Miraba la noche el alma y era tan clara su pena, que deshojaba la calma remota del azuceno.
Very beautiful, soul-searching and sweet. That was really, really lovely. Thank you so much, Lorena and Helen. That was by Glaisher-Hernandez, Miraba la noche el alma, the soul contemplated the night. And we're going to hear more music by wonderful, formidable women from Latin America later on. And we'll enjoy some more conversation as well with Lorena and Helen. But thank you, that was great. Really lovely to have you here live in the studio. You're listening to In Tune, third movement. You're listening to In Tune, it's 6:30, and my guests Lorena Paz Nieto and Helen Glaisher-Hernandez are here with me. They're performing a recital of the secret songs of women Latina composers as part of the Leeds Opera Festival. That's on Sunday at the Heart Centre in Headingley. And we heard that gorgeous piece of Cuban music a little while ago. It's just such a rich vein, I think, this treasure trove that you've discovered, Helen. We touched on it before. But where are we going next? We're going to Venezuela next with Modesta Bor, aren't we? Who was she?
Yeah, so she was another 20th century composer from the island of Margarita, just off the mainland of Venezuela. So very Caribbean, white sand. And she was primarily a choral composer. She composed over 200 pieces for choir, but she also has some songs and pieces for piano and a few other things. She studied in Russia with Khachaturian.
Okay.
So very, very proficient composer. And the piece we're going to do is, for me, it's a lullaby. It translates as lullaby for putting a little black baby to sleep. It's based on a text by Bayagas, who was part of the Negrista movement at that time, which is another movement to celebrate the sort of black heritage of Latin America.
Yeah.
So it's a very cute piece because the text is written in what's known as bozal, which is the kind of way that black slaves spoke when they started speaking Spanish. So it's very picturesque, but very tender lullaby.
I'm just stunned by the depth and breadth of music that you have seemingly found pretty easily. I mean, it's all there, it's all out there, isn't it? And so it needs to become more familiar.
It is out there, but a lot of it is very inaccessible. I've been able to find most of this program from sitting here in the UK at my desk, my computer. Although the one piece that we're doing in the program by the Cuban composer Maria Alvarez Rios, that was actually salvaged from a trunk in Havana.
See, I love stories like that. Like the Indiana Jones of the music world, you know.
Yes, actually, I have an ex-boyfriend who used to refer to me as Raider of the Lost Scores, because before I had a family, I used to go gallivanting around Latin America and making copies of things. But yes, I would say that the majority of the repertoire is still completely inaccessible. So this really is only a very small part of what's out there.
And Lorena, as a singer, how are you finding this repertoire?
I'm finding it extremely exciting. It is beautiful to delve into pieces that they're not in your usual recitals, that you're not hearing all the time. You have certain freedom as well, because you're not stepping on some much bigger shoes and constantly trying to imitate things. But also, it's just the sheer variety of this particular program. Like, as Helen was saying, with this one in particular, it's just so rich, it's so warm, it's so lazy. It will sound a little bit lazy, and I think it needs to. Is that mother putting a baby to sleep, and it has to have that sort of, now you have to sleep, you know.
Yeah, it's a sort of rocking.
Helen has been amazing at finding all of these scores that she has even been finding the last few weeks, and you were still searching for the last piece of the program, and it was like till the end, like, are we going to do it? If we don't get the score we want. But it's fascinating for me. I don't even have a preconceived idea until I get that score, and it's just absolutely thrilling, really.
Well, let's prepare to be rocked to sleep by Modesta Bor. And this is Lorena and Helen. Once again, this is the Canción, Lullaby by Modesta Bor, who's a Venezuelan composer. And they're singing live in the studio for us.
Dormite. Amor.
Very lovely indeed. Canción para dormir a un negrito. Lorena Paz Nieto and Helen Glaisher-Hernández live here in the studio. That lullaby by Modesta Bor. And I mean, it's a huge subject, but briefly, the variety of women and where they've all come from, I think, is fascinating when we look at the composers on this programme. I mean, some escaping from the Spanish Civil War, for example.
Yes, it's a very eclectic programme. That's what I love about it. It's different periods because we go back to the 19th century and all sorts of different countries. We've got composers from Spain, Cuba, Venezuela, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina.
Spanish Paris with Viardot as well.
Spanish Paris, I like it. Okay.
So, yes, I think what this demonstrates for me is this is a very broad concept of womanhood, because it's obviously all these songs, what they have in common is that they're all written by women, but then what these women are expressing across this whole program is a very diverse set of issues, and they've all got very different styles.
But I love that fact that you have only recently sort of put two and two together when you were looking at the dates of these composers, is that clearly writing music is very good for you. Because tell us about the ages of some of these ladies.
Yes, I was astounded, actually, see if I can find it, that so many of these ladies lived to astonishing ages. I mean, the first prize goes to the Argentine composer Yvette Souviron,
who we're going to hear, aren't we? Yes, we're going to hear a piece by her now. Yeah.
Yes, 101.
Nice work. Excellent, Yvette.
Have to be.
Yes. So many live on Suberdia, 99.
Yeah.
Cimaglia, 92. Urteaga, 93. Viardot, 89.
It's a good effort, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
So Yvette Souviron, we're going to hear the piece from her now called Carnavalito. And Lorena, how would you describe this piece?
I would describe this piece as literally someone that is hearing that carnavalito, that little carnival coming from the hills. You hear it coming closer to you. It gets there. You get these very thick chords on the piano. You get these rhythms that are very striking. And then just as it comes, you hear it going back into the next village, into the next people that will enjoy that beautiful music and party.
But briefly, you're going to bring Carnival to the studio. Thank you so much. So if you're ready, let's hear it. This is the Argentinian composer Yvette Souviron, Carnavalito, performed by soprano Lorena Paz Nieto and pianist Helen Glaisher-Hernández.
Viene bajando por los cerros mi carnavalito. Si oía lo lejos el sonido de que nacido
Carnival procession disappearing off into the distance by Yvette Souviron. And that was Lorena Paz Nieto and Helen Glaisher-Hernández. They're giving a recital called Mujeres Presentes, the secret songs of women Latina composers, as part of the Leeds Opera Festival. That's in Headingley at the Heart Centre on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Thank you so much more for both of you for coming in. It's been really, really interesting, and I'd wish you all the best with that recital. And if you enjoyed that exploration of Latin American culture, there is more, because I've made a Sunday feature, which goes out this coming Sunday at 6:45, called Brazilian Modernist Godfather, about the poets and artists and musicians who, 100 years ago now, set out to create a new Brazilian cultural identity. At its heart, the poet Manuel Bandeira, who was my father's godfather. So I've been on quite the voyage of discovery, learning more about his life with my family and his influence on Brazil. So I do hope you can tune in and enjoy it. 6:45 on Sunday. On In Tune tomorrow, ahead of the last night.